A country that once called Israel an ally now threatens to wipe it off the map. A nation that started its nuclear program with American help now enriches uranium to near weapons-grade levels. We're talking about Iran, and this isn't just another Middle East conflict. This is about nuclear weapons that could reshape global politics forever. Right now, Iran sits just weeks away from having enough enriched uranium for multiple nuclear bombs. The International Atomic Energy Agency reports that Iran has accumulated over 400 kilograms of uranium enriched to 60% purity, just a step away from the 90% needed for weapons. Meanwhile, Israel, with an estimated 90 nuclear warheads, views Iran's nuclear program as an existential threat. But how did we get here? Why is Iran, a signatory to the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, racing toward nuclear capability? And why have Iran and Israel, once partners under the Shah, become bitter enemies locked in a dangerous game of proxy wars and direct confrontation? Today we're diving deep into one of the world's most volatile conflicts. We'll uncover how Iran's nuclear program evolved from peaceful purposes to potential weapons development, trace the transformation of Iran-Israel relations from cooperation to hostility, and examine the proxy wars that have turned the entire Middle East into a chessboard. Iran's nuclear story begins with peace, not weapons. In 1957, under Shah Mohammad Reza Pahlavi, Iran signed a civil nuclear cooperation agreement with the United States as part of President Eisenhower's Atoms for Peace program. The Americans helped Iran build its first nuclear reactor in Tehran and provided enriched uranium for research. By 1968, Iran had signed the Nuclear Non-Proliferation Treaty, committing to peaceful nuclear use only. The Shah planned to generate 23,000 megawatts of electricity from nuclear power within 20 years. Construction began on the Bushehr nuclear power plant in 1975 with German help, and Iran invested over $1 billion in a French uranium enrichment facility. The 1979 Islamic Revolution changed everything. Ayatollah Khomeini initially opposed nuclear technology, calling it un-Islamic, and the nuclear program was halted. Western contractors abandoned their projects, leaving Bushehr unfinished and Iran's nuclear ambitions in ruins. But the Iran-Iraq War from 1980 to 1988 shifted Iran's perspective dramatically when Saddam Hussein used chemical weapons against Iranian troops and threatened to develop nuclear weapons. Iran's leaders realized they needed their own deterrent. In secret, Iran began rebuilding its nuclear program, but this time, it wasn't just about electricity. The covert program that emerged in the late 1980s was called the Ahmad Plan. Iranian scientists, working with Pakistani nuclear scientist A.Q. Khan's black market network, acquired centrifuge technology and began secretly enriching uranium. They built hidden facilities at Natanz and Arak, carefully concealed from international inspectors. For nearly 2 decades, Iran successfully hid this parallel nuclear program. Then, in August of 2002, an Iranian opposition group revealed the existence of the secret Natanz enrichment facility. Suddenly, the world realized that Iran had been lying about its nuclear activities for almost 20 years. Today, Iran's nuclear program has advanced far beyond civilian requirements. Iran enriches uranium to 60% purity, operates thousands of advanced centrifuges, and has accumulated enough enriched uranium to potentially fuel multiple nuclear bombs if further enriched. According to intelligence estimates, Iran could produce enough weapons-grade uranium for 1 nuclear bomb within weeks. The Iran-Israel relationship is one of modern diplomacy's most dramatic reversals. Before 1979, Iran and Israel were strategic partners in a hostile Arab neighborhood. Under the Shah, Iran was the second Muslim-majority country to recognize Israel after Turkey. The two nations shared intelligence, conducted joint military exercises, and cooperated extensively. Israel provided military advisors and weapons to Iran, while Iran supplied Israel with oil. This partnership was built on the periphery doctrine, non-Arab Middle East countries working together against surrounding Arab states. The relationship was remarkably close. Israel helped Iran develop its oil industry, and Iran allowed Israeli planes to use its airspace. When Egypt and Syria attacked Israel in 1973, Iran actually sent military aid to Israel. For over 25 years, Israel and Iran saw each other as natural allies. The 1979 Islamic Revolution shattered this alliance overnight. The new Islamic Republic declared Israel illegitimate and called for its destruction. Ayatollah Khomeini labeled Israel the Little Satan and America the Great Satan, positioning Iran as the leader of Muslim resistance against both. Ironically, even after the revolution, Iran and Israel maintained covert relations during the Iran-Iraq War. In the 1980s, Israel secretly sold weapons worth hundreds of millions of dollars to Iran, believing that a weakened Iraq was more dangerous. This became the Iran-Contra affair when revealed. However, by the 1990s, as Iran's nuclear program advanced and its support for anti-Israeli groups grew, the relationship turned permanently hostile. Iran began funding Hezbollah in Lebanon, Hamas in Gaza, and other groups dedicated to Israel's destruction. Israel responded with covert operations against Iran's nuclear program. The election of hardliner Mahmoud Ahmadinejad in 2005 marked a new confrontation phase. Ahmadinejad denied the Holocaust, called for Israel to be wiped off the map, and accelerated Iran's nuclear program. Israel responded with cyber attacks, assassinations of Iranian nuclear scientists, and repeated threats of military action. Iran and Israel have fought a shadow war for decades, using proxy forces to avoid direct confrontation while inflicting maximum damage. This proxy conflict has turned the entire Middle East into a battlefield. Iran's strategy is the axis of resistance, a network of allied groups that can strike Israel from multiple directions. The crown jewel is Hezbollah in Lebanon. Founded in 1985 with Iranian Revolutionary Guard training and funding, Hezbollah has grown from a small militia to one of the world's most powerful non-state armies. During the 2006 Lebanon War, Hezbollah fired over 4,000 rockets into Israel and sank an Israeli warship with a sophisticated anti-ship missile. Iranian Revolutionary Guard members reportedly fought alongside Hezbollah forces, marking the closest thing to direct Iran-Israel combat. In Gaza, Iran has supported Hamas with funding, weapons, and training. Iran also backs Palestinian Islamic Jihad and other militant groups that regularly fire rockets at Israeli cities. The Syrian civil war opened a new front. Iran deployed thousands of Revolutionary Guard forces and Hezbollah fighters to keep Bashar al-Assad in power, while establishing a permanent military presence on Israel's northern border. Israel has conducted thousands of airstrikes against Iranian forces and weapon shipments in Syria. Israel has responded with its own covert operations. Mossad has assassinated Iranian nuclear scientists, conducted cyber attacks like the Stuxnet virus that damaged Iranian centrifuges, and carried out sabotage operations inside Iran. The proxy war escalated dramatically after Hamas's October 7, 2023 attack on Israel, which killed about 1,200 Israelis and triggered the Gaza war. Iran's proxies opened multiple fronts. Hezbollah began firing rockets from Lebanon, Houthis attacked ships in the Red Sea, and Iraqi militias targeted U.S. bases. If you're fascinated by how nuclear weapons and proxy wars are reshaping the Middle East, hit that subscribe button and turn on notifications so you never miss our deep dives into the world's most critical conflicts. Drop a comment below. Do you think Iran's nuclear program is for defense or offense? We love hearing your thoughts on these complex geopolitical issues. Understanding the Iran-Israel conflict requires examining their military capabilities, and the differences are striking. Iran's military strategy focuses on quantity and asymmetric warfare. The country possesses over 3,000 ballistic missiles of various ranges, making it the Middle East's largest ballistic missile arsenal. These range from short-range Fatah missiles to medium-range Shahab and Sajil missiles that can reach anywhere in Israel and beyond. Iran's most dangerous weapons include the Khorramshahr missile with a 2,000-kilometer range, the Zulfikar with precision guidance systems, and the recently unveiled Fatah hypersonic missile that Iran claims can evade missile defenses. Many of these missiles are designed to carry nuclear warheads. Iran's conventional forces include over 500,000 active military personnel, 10,500 battle tanks, and 312 combat aircraft. However, most equipment is outdated, dating from the 1970s and 1980s. Iran's real strength lies in its Islamic Revolutionary Guard Corps, an elite force of 125,000 troops. Iran's defense budget in 2023 was approximately $10.3 billion. Israel operates one of the world's most advanced militaries despite its smaller size. With 345 combat aircrafts, including F-35 stealth fighters and F-16s, Israel maintains qualitative superiority. The Israeli Air Force is considered among the world's best, with pilots trained for precision strikes and advanced electronic warfare. Israel's missile arsenal includes the LoRa short-range missile, the Arrow missile defense system, and the Jericho series of ballistic missiles. The Jericho 3 has an estimated range of 4,800 to 6,500 kilometers and can carry nuclear warheads anywhere in the Middle East and beyond. Most importantly, Israel possesses an estimated 90 nuclear warheads, making it the Middle East's only nuclear-armed state. Israel's defense spending reached $27.5 billion in 2023, a 24% increase driven by the Gaza war and Iran threats. The Iron Dome is Israel's most famous defense system, designed to intercept short-range rockets and artillery shells. Since becoming operational in 2011, it has intercepted thousands of projectiles with a claimed 90% success rate. Israel's multi-layered defense includes David's Sling for medium-range threats and the Arrow system for long-range ballistic missiles. The conflict between Iran and Israel reached new intensity levels in 2024, with both countries moving closer to direct confrontation than ever before. The most significant escalation came in April 2024 when Iran launched its first ever direct attack in Israel. After Israel struck Iran's consulate in Damascus, killing 2 Iranian generals, Iran responded by firing over 300 missiles and drones at Israeli territory. While most were intercepted, the attack crossed a major red line. For the first time since 1979, Iran had directly attacked Israel. Israel retaliated in October 2024 with its own strikes on Iranian military targets, marking the first time Israel had openly attacked Iran. The escalation cycle continued when Iran launched a second massive missile barrage in October, this time with nearly 200 ballistic missiles targeting Israeli air bases and intelligence facilities. Throughout 2024, Iran continued advancing its nuclear program at an alarming pace. The IAEA reported that Iran was producing 60% enriched uranium at about 9 kilograms per month by late 2024. This material is just one step from weapons-grade uranium and serves no civilian purpose. Perhaps most concerning, Iranian officials began openly discussing developing nuclear weapons. In November 2024, Kamal Karazi, an advisor to Iran's supreme leader, stated that Iran would modify its nuclear doctrine if faced with an existential threat. This represented a significant shift from Iran's previous position that nuclear weapons were forbidden by Islamic law. Israel's response was devastating to Iran's proxy network. Israeli strikes killed key Iranian allies, including Hamas's leader, Yahya Sinwar, and Hezbollah leader, Hassan Nasrallah, dealing major blows to Iran's regional influence. The shadow war exploded into direct confrontation on June 13, 2025, when Israel launched Operation Rising Lion. This came one day after the IAEA found Iran non-compliant with nuclear obligations for the first time in 20 years. Israel launched 5 waves of strikes using 200 fighter jets, dropping 330 munitions on 100 targets. They assassinated Iran's top military leadership, struck nuclear facilities, and destroyed air defenses. The human cost has been devastating. Over 200 Iranian personnel killed, including 14 nuclear scientists Israel claims were developing weapons. Iran suffered 224 plus casualties, while Israel lost at least 24 civilians to missile strikes. Israel severely damaged Iran's Natanz facility. All 15,000 centrifuges were destroyed, according to the IAEA. However, Iran's most critical facility, the underground Fordo enrichment plant built inside a mountain, remains largely undamaged and continues producing 60% enriched uranium. Iran retaliated with sophisticated Sejil-2 ballistic missiles targeting Israeli cities and military bases, hitting civilian areas in Tel Aviv and Haifa. Both sides have escalated beyond conventional warfare, targeting media, residential areas, and civilian infrastructure. So why is Iran pursuing nuclear weapons? The answer lies in a complex web of security concerns, regional ambitions, and historical grievances. Iran sees nuclear weapons as the ultimate deterrent against regime change, a way to project power across the Middle East, and insurance against what it views as existential threats from Israel and the United States. For Iran's leaders, nuclear weapons represent survival in a hostile neighborhood, surrounded by U.S. military bases and facing an adversary with advanced nuclear capabilities. Iran's nuclear program has become central to its national security strategy. But Iran's nuclear pursuit comes with enormous risks. Israel has repeatedly stated it will not allow Iran to acquire nuclear weapons and has the military capability to strike Iranian nuclear facilities. The United States maintains that all options remain on the table. The stakes couldn't be higher. A nuclear-armed Iran would fundamentally alter Middle Eastern security dynamics, potentially triggering a regional arms race and increasing nuclear conflict risk. As Iran's nuclear program advances and regional tensions escalate, the world watches nervously to see whether diplomacy can still prevent what many experts consider an inevitable confrontation. The clock is ticking, and choices made in the coming months could determine whether the Middle East remains nuclear-free or enters a dangerous new era of nuclear proliferation. Iran's quest for nuclear weapons isn't just about one country's security, it's about the future of global nuclear order and stability in one of the world's most volatile regions. If this deep dive into Iran's nuclear ambitions opened your eyes to how close we are to nuclear crisis, share this video and hit that subscribe button to stay informed about the conflicts shaping our world.